HyperLaser is one of the most aim-dependent character in fighting, which means that if you weren't really good at shooter games, this character might be a little bit difficult for you at the start. But even if that's the case, just don't give up yet, because a good aim only comes with practice. The difference between a good hyper main and a bad one isn't about just the aim only, it's also about their awareness in the match. A good hyper main will be able to know when to rush into the center and when to back off and play behind. Now I'll be showing you how to play HyperLaser as both an aggressive and a defensive unit, and I have made my first guide on Scythe before, so make sure to check that out if you want to. And this is going to be the first HyperLaser guide after his ultimate's nerf, which I feel like wasn't really needed, but it is what it is. Now without wasting any more time, the reason I say HyperLaser was an aim-reliant character was because of his normal M1s. He shoots these beams that deals 50 damage to the body. However, what's interesting is that he has two passive abilities, one of them being the wireframe bullet, which is indicated by a blue outline on your ammo. For your information, it comes on every third bullet that you shoot, no matter what. Hitting an enemy with this wireframe bullet makes your next hit increase in damage. The second passive ability he has is the headshot damage. HyperLaser has an increased critical damage for every headshot, dealing up to 80 a pop. And yes, this damage also increases with wireframed enemies. This damage difference can be very noticeable, just like with Scythe, and you're gonna try to headshot as much opponents as you can whenever you can. Now for his right click, he has this ability to pierce through opponents or a thin layer of an obstacle. This ability is pretty good when you want to finish off targets that are low and hiding behind thin walls or objects. It also has a pretty big hitbox radius, so you don't even have to land this directly to deal damage, which is kinda busted. But of course, it is better to land it because it deals way more damage that way. Instead of just dealing 30, it will deal about 70. And you should try to use it when a lot of enemies are collided together, so you can stack as much damage as possible as it pierces through them. Now let's talk about his running away abilities. For his E ability, there are actually two ways you can use it if you didn't know. You can either press it once to slide and jump, or hold the E button to get a speed boost after giving off this aura. Either one of those abilities give you an instant bullet, which is indicated by the full blue bullet besides your crosshair. They both have their own scenarios to be useful in. For example, I like to use the sliding ability to get a higher view of everyone, making it easier to aim. You can also use it to enter the battlefield without just walking in presenting yourself as an easy target. Many people think it's just used to avoid enemies, but you can also use it to get out of positions that you don't want to be in and move to somewhere with a better view. As for the holding version, it's really good to use when enemies are right on top of you, since the aura that you emit actually deals a small amount of damage to them and slows your enemies down. I personally recommend you to use this to run away from enemies rather than the sliding one if you want to play more aggressively. Although both of them can be good, and it's kinda up to your preferences because there's no right or wrong with this ability. Also, if you notice a melee enemy running after you like a sword, it's best to run back to your teammates or back to your spawn as much as you can, because even if they kill you, at least you waste more of their time and you will have a higher chance of your teammates killing that enemy that killed you. Now, as for Hyper's Q ability, he can throw a grenade that can either be used to give yourself speed or slow down enemies, or even both if you can use it well. Although I feel like this move needs a small buff, it's quite useful defensively and offensively. You can use it in a big crowd by aiming it towards the floor or directly at an enemy by throwing it right at them, which also slows them down and deals an extra 10 damage. This ability isn't meant for dealing damage as it only does 20 to 30 damage, but it's used to help you run away like a little coward. However, if you have this ability available, don't keep it stored. Instead, use it if there's no enemies nearby you or if you're safe, so that you can slow them down for your team or yourself to aim easily. Moving on, we got his ult, which was just recently nerfed. Before this nerf, he could shoot 3 times with his ult if you managed to land all your shots. And now, even after landing a shot, you can only get one ultimate charged bullet, which explodes if you hit enemies, and applies a wireframed effect to anyone nearby the explosion. It's still pretty decent, although I feel like this wasn't really needed because landing all 3 shots almost never happened in the first place. And now I think about it, maybe that's why they even added this change in the first place. But anyways, to land your ultimates, you want to make sure that you have a clear view of your targets, and you want to wait until most of your enemies are on the map, so you can have more chances of landing a shot. So if they're still respawning, just wait, it's more worth it, trust me. Also, don't go for the lowest enemy or someone that's moving around really fast, because your ultimate basically one-shots all your enemy at the cost of having a long wind-up time, so you don't want to waste it.
A few moments later.
If you are still watching this video up till now, here's some bonus tips that you can use. Holding shift to steady your aim can work while enemies are far away, but in most cases, it's best not to. In game modes like Conquer, aka Capture the Point, you want to start rushing in slowly when your teammates are doing well, and back off when they start to die. Rushing in when the enemies are low can be good if you have a good aim. It's also important that in overtime for Capture the Point, you should be playing more aggressively and rushing in when you can, because it's always better to die trying if it means that you can help your team win the game. You do not want to be playing behind constantly on one spot, because that makes you a noticeable target to the opponents, and that means that someone's going to target you. Lastly, HyperLaser isn't the most versatile character. There are some maps where he does really well, and some maps where he's almost useless. You usually want to use him in maps that are more open with teammates that can actually work well with him. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my other videos and join my Discord server where I'll be hosting giveaways and events. The link is in the description or the comments, and on that note, thanks for watching.